This is a 1996 Toyota Corolla. I've owned this Corolla since May of 2000, and now it is June of 2019, so I've owned this vehicle for 19 years. This 1996 Toyota Corolla is the DX model, has the 1.8 liter engine. Today's agenda is to replace the radiator. The radiator installed in this Corolla is an OEM 23-year-old radiator. The top of my radiator began to split about 6 months ago. I used some JB Weld to patch the original splits, cracks, holes as a temporary measure, just to get me through a period of time. What's been happening recently, though, is the radiator is continuing to create new holes, find new gaps, and it is spraying steam and liquid coolant onto my manifold and other parts of my engine. So I decided to go ahead and replace the radiator. Now for this particular vehicle, you can get radiators for around $50. I did decide to upgrade slightly, and what I mean from that is the aftermarket $50, $60 radiators. I went ahead and purchased a Mishimoto OEM radiator for about $90. I'll go ahead and include links to the parts that I've purchased, which all came from Amazon. I've never done this before, so this will be a learning experience. I went ahead and researched it a little bit. Mostly it seems like I need to go ahead and drain the fluid, disconnect the fan, go ahead and disconnect all the hoses, and after I've drained the radiator, I will lift the radiator out of the vehicle. I'll go ahead and inspect all the hoses connections at that time, swap in the new radiator, go ahead and reattach hoses or add new ones. Now I did not purchase all the hoses. You do have things like, I believe I have a transmission coolant hose. I've got the hose that goes to the overflow. Now it's very possible these hoses being 23 years old, I may break them, so I may have to make a trip to the AutoZone. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I just went down to my barn and got two old pans. My vehicle holds about 1.5 gallons of coolant. So what I'll be doing in just a moment is I will be seeing if I can turn the petcock on the lower left-hand side of the radiator, see if I can go ahead and open that. I'll take the radiator cap off so I'm not draining against a vacuum, and see if I can go ahead and drain out all that fluid. That may take the most amount of time, but again, I haven't done this before, so I don't know. Now to help me today, I went ahead and purchased a spill-proof funnel kit. So the idea is once I have the new radiator installed, I've gone ahead and topped it with coolant. I can go ahead and sit this down, attach it nice and firmly, go ahead and fill it up, run the vehicle with the heater on, and go ahead and bleed the system of air. I should be able to see bubbles as I do that. Now I don't have any vehicle ramps. A lot of folks I've seen after they drain the fluid, they go ahead and jack up the front of the car or have it on ramps to aid in bleeding the system. I do have a very steep driveway, so if I feel there's any problems after I've bled the system, I can go ahead and turn the vehicle around, head up my driveway so the nose is just a little bit more elevated than the back tires. I've gone ahead and purchased 3 gallons of Peak 50/50 pre-diluted antifreeze coolant. Again, mine only requires about 1.5 gallons, but I like to have extra in case there's any spillage. I end up with a hose leaking, something of that nature, so I don't have to make a quick trip to the store. Now to help me today, I do have some additional tools. I have a large pair of pliers, something you would use under a kitchen sink. This will help me with some of those hoses that may be stuck on. Just a little standard set of pliers that'll help me get the clips that attach the hoses. Just squeeze them ever so gently so I can remove them. And you will need a 12 millimeter for the mounts on the radiator. Petcock is not draining for us, so that's not going to stop us. We'll just MacGyver it. I'm going to go ahead and start removing other hoses because I'm not really getting proper drainage here at all. Let's back this up the hose line. There we go. I'm going to set this off to the side. gusta. Third clamp. There's a ton of corrosion on there, so before I slip everything back on, I'll probably try to clean that up. Let's do a wool. Now, I've seen some guys do this in 15 minutes. They don't drain the radiator. They just pop off all the hoses, pull everything out, put in the new radiator, strap on the fan, and they're good to go. But this is the first time I've done this, so I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Well, I think the next step is going to be to try to disconnect the power supply to the fan, and then after I do that, I might just try to wiggle the lower hose off. There she goes. Okay, I had to take the battery out so I could reach the power supply for the fan. The clip was a little tricky. I ended up in the end using pliers. Now I'm going to use a number 10 millimeter. Maybe I'm going to use a 10 millimeter. Okay. The power one's not working, so I'm going to see if I can put it on a regular ratchet. Okay, do the other one. Nice and slow. There we go. Here we go. They don't have to be super tight, they're just holding the fan in. Okay, now, while we're down here, this is the original lower hose. This is the replacement that is supposed to be OEM, but it's definitely a different shape. just have to put it on, see if it fits, and if the fit is bad, I can keep the original hose. The original hose looks like it's okay. I'm just concerned that it's not going to have the right location, but just going to check the fit before I... Whew. Tell you what, that's hard on the back. Alright. Let's go ahead and turn the fan. Clip the fan back in. I'm uncomfortable. Whew. Oh, shit. Well, there you have it. Fire somewhere in the engine block. Alright, I think everything is attached. Let's go ahead and put the battery back in. Shit. Alrighty, well, lost a pair of pliers. Lost the strap from my battery. I'm hoping they'll just jostle loose when I go up and down the driveway, but oh well. Shit happens. Okay, so now I'm going to put the fluid in. Should take 1.5 gallons. And hopefully this will work just fine. Now my car should take 1.5 gallons, so 1.5 of these bottles. I want to keep the bottles to pour the dirty old coolant into. Next thing to do is try to turn it on. Okay, you can see a lot of bubbles as I bleed the system. Fan still hasn't come on yet, but the car's only been running for a few minutes, so we'll give it time. I really like using these gloves. I went through a few pairs. Kind of also save you from little scrapes, cuts, bruises. Okay, so it's been running for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and face it up my driveway so the nose is just a little bit elevated, help some of the air work its way out. My heat gauge is about the halfway point right now. I think I need to run it at a slightly higher RPM. Fan clicked on. I'll get some more bubbles. Okay, so the other thing I was doing is I was replacing my windshield wiper fluid. tank comes with a pump, but the connections were all wrong. So what I had to do is the bottom part of the new pump, the new innards, I had to cut down about 2 inches, mount the old motor on an old electrical connection, but it's working. So I'm just going to seal up the seam because it just slides out now. Well, there you have it.